Hi, Josephine. How are you today?
I'm doing great, Bonnie. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, thank you so much for talking to me because I want to know how this beautiful novel got into your hands in the first place.
Well, I honestly, it was the script that got into my hands. That it had been developed by our producer Denise Zinovi with Warner
Yeah.
Brothers, and then I don't know
Yes.
what happened. They turned something changed, and then so I got it handed to me, and I was obsessed. I was like immediately obsessed. I was like, this is a magical universe that's so full and rich, and like what an unusual family. And it's about being a teenager and love, but it's also
Right.
about grief. And I just felt like it opens up so many doors to my heart. So I was really on board. Plus the Redwood
I-
Forest. I mean, who doesn't want to make a
oh,
movie in the Redwood
oh, okay.
Forest?
Yeah. First of all, that location alone, I could talk to you for 6 hours about it. Just absolutely gorgeous. But yes, I want to ask you that because the one thing about this film is yes, it just touches on so many emotions, like the roller coaster that these characters go through, but especially expressing grief because everybody expresses grief in such a different way. But the visual way that you've shown this film, I mean, honestly, it's stunning. Were you nervous about how you were like maybe envisioning it and how it turned out, you know?
Oh, it's funny. I think out of all my films, I've made a lot of like dark, broody movies. This is definitely, it's so funny. When I was first telling my mom about it, I was like, I'm making the happiest, joyous movie. You're going to love it, Mom. She's like, what's it about? And I'm like, grief. But I promise it's a really happy movie. And I
Yeah.
think my whole vibe going into it was like, I have to make sure that we are having as much joy and fun on set as possible because you're going to feel it, and the movie has to have this spirit of like joy and community and love because the book and the script had that. And so and
Yeah.
you can always tell like the process sometimes can be reflected in the product. So I really, I wasn't actually as miserable or nervous as I usually am. I really was just, also we shot it during the California wildfires and the pandemic,
Oh,
so
no,
it was just
no.
a crazy difficult time to shoot a movie at all. And so the
No.
fact that we had all been in our alone, isolated for 5 or 6 months, we hadn't left our houses basically. And so to be together, working on something, making something in the forest that was also about such a tender subject matter, I think we all just felt really grateful to be together at all. So I feel blessed, and then
Yeah,
we just
your
had so
cast.
much fun.
Yeah, well, I'm sure. Aside from and your cast is amazing. I mean, Cherry Jones and every. But tell me a little bit why you wanted Grace Kaufman to be the center of this because I thought she did such a fabulous job in this movie.
Oh, well, thanks. I'm so glad you feel that way. I think Grace is a total genius. I mean, she
Yeah.
really is like light years ahead of her time. She has two actor parents, so I think that helps, but she was 17 when we cast her. And so
I know,
we
crazy.
were floored by her, like her nuanced understanding of the material. She's such a storyteller, and she knows how to like be subtle. She knows how to go into the really deep, deep, profound rawness of that grief and like a loss would required of her for this role. And then she's also super funny. She'd worked a lot in comedy, so she has great
Yeah.
timing, and it's really rare that you can do all of that basically at
Yeah,
any
she
age.
was
So
great against Matt LeBlanc in that TV series. I mean, if you
yeah.
can, you can work against him. But I'm so upset that I don't have more time with you because I just really wanted to talk about the musical aspect of it because classical music. But thank you for bringing that in there too.
Well, I can do it, speak really quickly. I can add all the time.
Okay. All right, just
um
telling me to wrap it, please. Yeah, talk about that because
yes,
I love the music. Yeah.
I feel like the it's so exciting to make a piece that's about teenagers obsessed with classical music. I mean, I was so obsessed with classical music when I was a teenager because I was just like, what else holds the wholeness of your experience? Like classical music is it's so like brute. Like Beethoven is kind of like an emo teenager. Like he's just, it's so intense. Like everything is so full and experienced. And I find that to be very cathartic. And so
Yeah.
I loved that these teenagers were so obsessed with classical music. I always found a real solace in classical music and was so in
Great.
love. So
Yeah.
yeah, glad I hope that it resonates with all of the classical music loving teenagers in the world.
I think it'll get some new ones as well. Well, thank you. And thank you for addressing that. I really appreciate it. And thank you for the extra second there, a few seconds. I appreciate that. So congratulations on this. It's just beautiful, beautiful film. And best of luck to you on this. I appreciate your
Thank you,
time today. Thank
Bonnie.
you.